Okay,
Might be
there we
cutting out a
go.
bit. Okay.
Okay.
Let me refresh my page.
All right, let's see. It should be showing live or coming up, open up live.
It still says upcoming at 7:20. Is it 7:20 your time or 7:20 my
That's
time?
Eastern, I'm assuming. But it's saying that I'm streaming though.
Maybe it might catch up on my end. It's still showing that it's upcoming or still waiting. I could send you a screenshot of what it looks like on my side.
Can you close out of yours
Yeah.
and see if maybe you can go back in? Cause my chat is open. It's saying that I'm streaming.
There we go. We are
Okay.
live.
Okay. There we go. I'm like, what is going on?
There we go.
Okay, and then people should slowly start coming in.
There, I think we all are anticipating,
There's
especially
Melissa.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, we're anticipating, especially after today's episodes.
Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, it seemed like Wednesdays to anywhere between Tuesday and Thursday, you get the best episodes. I don't know why they call Friday cliffhanger.
It hasn't been cliffhanger Friday in a minute for either show.
No, I know, right? How many people we got in the chat? I see two, Melissa and Dolores. Hi, Dolores.
We're almost at about 20 people. People are slowly coming in.
Okay, hey, Queen of the South. Let's see. Okay. Make sure you come in, hit the like button. Also, kind of rep where you are. Where you from. You don't have to say the street address, okay? We ain't getting that close. But like you from Illinois, Texas, Florida, California. Hey, Katie. Is that Katie Logan?
It might be. Katie, are you upset about the DNA results?
Hey,
the
Devon.
DNA results.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So we got some usual suspects. Good to see everybody.
I know.
I'm in Orlando.
Yeah. Listen, if you're in the Midwest, are you being overrun by cicadas? Because we are up here.
Cicadas?
Yeah, they're these bugs that have big wings and they have an exoskeleton that they shed, and they are very, very loud because when they come out every 17 years, they're during the middle of mating season. So, yeah, it's real loud up here right now.
Oh, wow. So they're getting more action than YNR.
Listen, and the ones that's making all the noise are the males of the species because the noise that they make, it calls the females over to mate.
Oh, so they really putting it out there like they're bat signal.
Exactly. And I'm telling you, them things are huge. I'm going to send you a picture of one, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Katie said, no, this Katie was rooting for Bill and Poppy. All right.
Oh, okay. I'm almost curious to know where people stand. I feel like it's very split online about those DNA results. I know I'm going to be in a minority, but today's episodes were pretty good. Correction. I was very angry with Devon, so I said a lot of very fragrant stuff to my TV.
I bet you did.
So, a lot. Like every scene he was in, I'm like, you chronic constipation. That's just who he. That's just who he is.
We'll talk about him. I know. We'll talk about him in a second. Hey, Queen of the South. Cicadas usually come in Illinois, maybe some northern parts of Kentucky, Indiana. They're usually in the upper Midwest. So, yeah, they are loud. They are noisy. They are huge. Got big red eyes. Some of them got white eyes. And one landed. I had my window down.
Oh, I grew up with those. Okay.
Girl.
I forgot what they were called.
Yeah, so you must have looked it up.
Yeah, because I used to live in Indiana. That's where I'm originally from.
Okay.
So I'm from the Midwest. Because I remember like cicadas and lightning bugs. We don't get any of that down here in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a minute since I've seen or heard cicadas. It's been almost 20 years since I've been in Indiana.
Yeah, they only come out every 17 years. So the last time they came out was in 2007. And I remember my daughter had to be like 9 or 10 years old. And her little friends created a cicada club at that time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think I finished like my first year of college in 2007.
Yep, that's
been a minute.
Yeah, that's the last time they've been out. And I remember they was like, Mom, we made a cicada club. And I'm like, yeah, okay, you keep them bugs over there.
Yeah.
But
y'all can have it to yourself.
Exactly. All right, we're going to go ahead and get this started. Enough about them cicadas. Welcome you guys to Soap Corner Chat, or Talk, I should say. Soap Corner Talk, where both Bree and myself, T, we're doing our usual midweek chat, and it's good that we kind of get this one in because we won't be live again until Sunday, because Friday night is the Daytime Emmy Awards. So, yay! So,
I can't wait to see the dresses.
I know how good everybody's going to look, and with their new significant others, like probably, I would assume that Scott will bring his new woman, and Annika will bring her new man, and of course, you know, Jacqueline and her husband Elon will be there, and yeah, it'll be interesting.
He's very handsome.
Oh yeah, yes he is. Yes.
It's like her real life Liam in the flesh.
except with darker hair.
Yes.
Yep.
Like they're very similar. But okay, girl.
Yeah, he's not a bad looking guy, and from what I think, he's a diplomat in Europe or something. Yeah, he's I forgot what it was. I had to look it up, but I remember he's just some type of special guy over there. So go ahead, girl. Yeah, go.
See.
She found her high value man.
And gave him 4 babies. She was like, back to back to back to back.
I know, right? I'm curious if she'll eventually go for another one just to get that girl.
If it were me, I would have, especially after 4 kids, maybe I probably would have went through in vitro to ensure I had a girl, so I don't have to worry about pushing out 40 kids to try to get a girl.
That's what happened to DeVale Ellis and his wife. I mean, they got them 4 boys too, and I know they was trying for a girl.
And they would have made a beautiful girl, but boys are quick too.
Yep. All right, so the first scene we're going to talk about is this situation between Nate, Devon, and Mamie. Now, okay, I know you had some thoughts, so I'm going to let you go first in this situation with Devon. Was it about this particular scene or something else?
It's this whole doggone episode. This chronic constipation had the gall to try to get Mamie to sell her shares just to prove something to him. For what? If anything, she proved everything right. You pulled Mamie from Detroit. She got right out of Bible study. She got that beautiful wig, pin curl, still curled together, everything. And you had the gall to ask her to try to prove to you that she's not going to cause any trouble. And I'm like, what has he learned thus far? He needs a laxative. I don't understand why he's always full of BS. Every which way he goes, he's just a pompous ass. And I will never understand why is he so angry all the time. He's so stuck on his way of doing things. He's not trying to hear anybody. He's not trying to rationalize anybody. And this is the same man who had to go run back to his daddy for some help. And you have Mamie right in front of you telling you, look, we need to stick together. And plus, this woman put in a lot of money in investment, however much, but enough for her investment. And he's trying to say, like, well, you can go and get an investment someplace else, just to prove that you're not going to cause any trouble. Just a walking.
They're giving this woman
40-year-old constipation.
And I mean, she even took the time to admit, to say, hey, maybe I was a little bit too pushy, and I'm like, okay, give her that much. But they was just, I don't know, even when they went back to the office and, they had a conversation with Lily. They was like, oh, she's trying to start trouble again. I'm like, this is y'all auntie. I mean,
it's Nate's auntie.
Well, I mean, and Nate and Lily, am I correct? Because Lily is related somehow through that.
Yeah, that's Nate and Lily's aunt. Right. And Devon is just there. Just like he always is. He's just there. That's why I don't understand his animosity towards Mamie so much. And even after he left, he was like, well, good to see you. He just, like, it wasn't loving, wasn't family oriented. He just treated her like an employee. Well, actually worse than an employee, because he went from, for when they kicked her let me say this. They made her feel bad enough for her to leave. Then they bring her back for her to prove herself. And for what? And to him, who is he?
Yeah,
he's not even a real functional billionaire. He can't even keep his company together. He's just emotional. Carl Thomas.
Girl, the thing is, he's so silly. The thing is with him, it's like, dude, the only reason that you're a billionaire is just you just happen to find out that Tucker McCall was your father, who's happened to be Catherine Chancellor's son, and now you've been bequeathed all this money, and now he want to walk around and just want to just be mean and that. At first I understand. Well, wait a minute, I don't, because this whole thing actually cleared up about what happened in Paris, because that was the only reason why he was mad, because they were hanging out at Dominic's concerts, and he was spending more time over there. And then when Ashley came back with the story about what didn't happen in Paris, then he got mad. That got cleared up, and he's still not talking to his father. And it's like, dude, are you just gonna walk around and be mad at everybody?
It's like every breath he takes, he's just angry about something, and it just makes me dislike this man even more. And if you guys are Devon fans, like I said, I apologize. Just know that he's not my favorite at all. He at the bottom of that list. Just how he moves and how he treats people. He treats everybody like an employee, even the lovers that he's with. It's never anything loving or affectionate. He puts more passion into his hate for either Tucker or things that don't go his way. And he moves off of emotion. And that's why I said he desperately needs a laxative.
Girl, he moves off of emotions. You're right about that. I mean, I will say Abby checked him, though.
She barely did.
Girl, shoot, he was like, I'm sorry. I just thought that you were going to vote with us. And she was like, you know that look that Abby gets when she mad.
Mm-hmm.
That
little
go ahead.
That little pout and that little stare, like he didn't took like her $500 out of her purse or something.
Exactly. Shoot, that's the only person he kind of backed down to is when it comes to her.
Apparently, he was quick to apologize to her, but not to Mamie. You got Mamie apologizing and trying to plead with you.
Exactly. Girl, please. Oh.
He is just chronic constipation. There's nothing else I can think of with Devon.
He's always, like you say, he got to stick up his butt, always uptight.
No, he's just full of a lot of S. And he breathes it so much.
Oh,
and maybe that's why I want to try to like Devon. If there's anybody in the chat who can help me like Devon, that would be great. But at this point, I cannot stand him. Mm-hmm. He's just He's not even a functional billionaire. He cannot even think for himself. He can't even think rationally because, like you were saying, like what's his issue with Tucker? So Tucker's only good enough for like a hostile takeover, but he can't even see his grandchild.
Exactly.
Really?
Yeah, we talked about that. That whole thing, he come up to him talking about, I need information, but don't expect anything from me in return. It's like, shoot, how am I just gonna give to you, and you ain't doing nothing? Oh, okay.
Mm-mm.
I mean, at least Audra is more reciprocal, transactional.
I mean, that's the name of her game. She is the queen of the square reader. Good for her.
You silly.
But that's how she was moving this whole week, thinking that she had all this pool back and forth. I know we'll get to that Friday, but yeah, she's a walking square reader. But I will never understand Devon's, I guess, position on the show.
Yeah, he's a pain,
And
but
and even Victor is able to show a form of empathy or rationality at least once in a while.
really,
Not all the time. Not what at once in a while. Once like you blink and you miss it, but it's there, I promise.
you silly.
like he was rational about the thing with Jordan. He was like, I guess you guys are right. And then he, backtracks at 40 steps back. But that's
Mm-hmm.
Victor.
Yeah, that's Victor for you.
But Devon has no rationale whatsoever. It's all emotion, every which way. He's even trying to pull emotion out of Mamie's. Like, how do I know you're not going to do a hostile takeover and change the morale of the company? What is your end goal? Because Billy wants to
Wait a
make
minute.
changes. Oh.
Well, if you're gonna go there, let me switch the screen.
I'm like, I'm. He's allowing so much stuff to happen underneath his whatever.
Well, okay, girl, listen. So let's switch over to Billy since you were headed there.
Mhm.
Does it seem to you that this man is so hard pressed to get what he wants done? He betrayed his mother's trust.
Mhm.
Tell Lily about it, but then expect Lily not to betray the trust. How are you gonna betray trust, but then you're gonna ask me not to do it?
Well, Lily put herself in that position, and the thing is, Billy is just like her mother, just like his mother. You got to do what you have to for the end result that you want. And he used that information about Jill,
Mm-hmm.
said it to the right person who was going to show some empathy, especially since Jill claims Lily's kids as her grandchildren. And he is playing into Lily's emotions, and she's not
Yep.
seeing that at all.
Yep.
She's just choosing to be the little Miss Fiddle, and is perfectly fine with whatever he's saying. And of course, we know she's going to be swayed. And this is happening once again right underneath Devon's nose. And the end goal for Billy is to put Abbott, Chancellor Winters on top of everybody's building, and for what?
Well, the interesting
And
thing about that is that the fact of the matter is that he put her in an impossible position because number one, he's asking her to add the Abbott name on the company, but not tell Devon why. And I mean, how are you supposed to do that? Because Devon is going to flat out say no. If you come back to him and say, look, how about we go ahead and, Billy, put Abbott on the company name? Devon will be like, wait a minute, we addressed that already. Why are we doing this? Well, I can't really say. I don't want to break anybody's trust. He gonna be looking like, well, how am I supposed to trust you if you can't trust to tell me what's going on? I honestly think that Jill should have met with them. She should have met with them as since they all part of this whole merger of the company. She's supposed to have met maybe with Billy first and then had a secondary meeting to say, hey, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is what's going on. Her telling Lord Jack. Her telling Billy and then tell him not to tell the rest of them, and then he turn around and use that same information and tell her, you know what, I gotta do this. She's so proud of me, and I want to make sure that I live up and keep her legacy. And dude, really, I get what you're trying to say, but you're using your mama's illness to manipulate Lily and her emotions to get what you want. And I gotta give it to Lily by saying, okay, what about the Abbotts? Do the other Abbotts want the family name on this business? What do you think about that, Bree?
I want to point something out from Black Pick Me. Jill is not an Abbott.
Correct.
That is the key thing. Why is the Abbott name so damn important? She done had several other last names since the Abbott name.
Yep.
So why is the Abbott name part of her legacy? Well, I think we talked about this on Friday. Lauren Fenmore. Isn't she a Fenmore?
Correct. She sure is.
So if you want to protect her legacy, wouldn't you use the name Fenmore? But even more importantly, she is always identified with being like a chancellor, a portion of the company. Why can't her legacy is not going to change anything? The people of that company know what she's done for them. So I don't think that has anything to do with her legacy. It has to do with putting that Abbott name on that letterhead and on the top on every building of that company. And I'm like, for what? That's not even her last name.
Yeah, the problem is that he's an Abbott, and she brought that up. She said, your last name is Abbott. Are you trying to? And that's what this comes down to. Just like you and Black Pink Me said, Jill is not an Abbott. Billy is, because his father is John Abbott. But when you kind of peel back the layers, that's what this is actually about. This ain't about Jill.
And I'm like, the Abbotts are over at Jabot. And he didn't think this was going to be disrespectful to the other Abbotts. Part of me is curious to know what Abby thinks about this. Because wouldn't this come to like a vote or something about changing? Because that's a huge, major change within that company. And Billy's expecting Lily to just be quiet about that to Devon. And Devon is supposed to just sign off on it like okay. I mean, I expect that because he is emotional, but at the same time, Lily would know better than to just not tell Devon, especially if this is going to involve a lot of money for this change. And for one, it makes absolutely no sense. And why is he pushing this so much? And he was just trying to shed a tear regarding his mom. Wouldn't his concern be about, okay, I need to go to London and check on my mom?
Yeah, which is what Chelsea told him at the end of the episode. Chelsea told him, look, maybe you should be more focused on your mom instead of trying to take control of this company.
Yeah. And that's why it makes no sense why he's pushing so hard, especially now. You would think he would have hopped on a plane the way he was like coming to Lily at first, like trying to shed a crocodile tear. I honestly don't think he gives a damn.
Wait a minute, girl, I gotta ask you. You said he tried to shed a tear. Who was worse, him or Finn?
Finn will forever be worse because his eye ducats do not work at all. His tear ducats don't work at all. At least Billy, we get a little gloss in his eye a little bit. He tried to get that crocodile tear out, and it worked. It pulled Lily's heartstrings. But I did not like the fact that he used that to manipulate Lily into putting an unnecessary name on that company.
But check this out, too. And it's a good point that she brought up, why don't you ask your siblings because of, the Abbott name. Say, for example, with Billy in charge, because he actually has veto power over Lily, right?
Yeah.
And he makes a bad decision. And Abbott, his name being Billy Abbott, is all over it. Could that also affect Jabot indirectly?
I don't know if they, because I don't think they're in the same industry, but that Abbott name, I guess, is prominent enough, especially since that's a billionaire family.
Right.
It could affect things. I'm pretty sure a lot of things Billy had done had affected the Abbott name, but I don't understand why this is so urgent for him unless he's really just trying to prove that he can make it outside of Jabot.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. You hit it right on the nail. He knew with Jack and, well, there's a lot of chaos going on over there right now, but as long as with Jack is in charge, he was not going to get any higher than what, co-CEO? He wasn't going to run that by himself. And so this is his opportunity through Jill having the power that she has, giving it to him. Oh, I can actually have a company to myself and have ultimate power. And then stick my name on it because I want everybody to know who I am.
Black Pink Me said the Winters are going to be the last on the letterhead. Yep. Yep. Alphabetically, yep. but Billy's never been a businessman. All of a sudden now he has his business savvy. He wants to stay at a job. He no longer wants to be a temp employee. He wants to be temp to hire. Mm-hmm. And his mother hired him in the highest of position with all of this power. And once again, this is happening right underneath Devon's nose. But he has a goal to try to worry about making sure Mamie apologizes to him. That's a billionaire.
Yep. Yeah, oh, Lord. And then when Billy left out, oh, yeah, Jabot. Remember Jabot? Thank you, Cheryl.
Exactly. This man he bought a whole boat for no reason and was gambling Jabot funds. But Jill has really lost her mind. She must really be sick to think that Billy was able to be capable of running that company. But
yeah, okay, but there's another thing. Remember, there's this other plan that Nate, Devon, and Lily put together, which was to unmerge the companies. That she was going to play along with them and then eventually get the company unmerged and then jump ship and go with Devon. She's going to have to explain that. Now, is he going to be tugging at her heartstrings on that too? You know, with that in mind, like, dang, you know, she's sick. I would hate to do this to her. We can't. This is going to hold a lot on Lily's head. So things that she actually agreed with Devon and Nate on, she might have to backpedal because her emotions is involved with what Billy told her.
Exactly. And this is going to be very piss poor of Lily, too. And he's catching her while she's vulnerable. She's just come off of a breakup and she's lonely and her feelings are all over the place. And plus they used to sleep together before, so he knows how to touch some other heartstrings for her. Mm-hmm. So he's pulling every string with Lily, and she's going to fall for it like an idiot. Both her and her brother just a bunch of idiots.
Doing it. Because when Devon walked in the door and Devon asked, hey, what was that about? Oh, nothing. I worry about Billy. You worry about Mamie. So she already keeping secrets. And he know it. That's why he looked the way he did. Like, something up.
And I'm like, worried about Mamie for what? She was trying to help you. And she's still trying to help you. Girl. She didn't have to. She left Bible study to jump on a plane, good wig, pretty dress, everything, trying to see what she can do to try to help and try to prove herself, which she shouldn't have to do. She's proven herself.
Girl, it's a mess. It is a mess. And pretty much to me, we had the whole situation with Victor trying to tell Cole he can't see Victoria. And I'm
that ain't stopped nobody before.
I mean, what are you going to do? throw him off the ranch, forbid him to come on. I mean, then you're going to have some explaining to do because Claire is going to want to know what happened to her daddy.
Well, if Claire is smart, she has a cell phone. She can talk to her dad.
Man, Victor needs to go sit down somewhere. That's what Victor needs to do.
Victor, didn't he say the same thing to Jack? Like, you need to stay away from my family. And you see Nikki's just loves to be right underneath Jack. So anything Victor says, it never stays concrete. Same way we know eventually he's going to need Michael as his lawyer for something stupid that he put himself in. And same way he uses everybody around him. He's another person who gets emotional, but some days he gets it right. But this is not going to keep Cole away from Victoria.
Well, the other thing is that if he did just all of a sudden disappear, they're going to wonder what happened. And knowing Victoria, she ain't stupid. She probably going to figure, Dad, what did you do? Because other than that, Cole would not want to leave. They just had a moment where they're trying to figure out a relationship. And he just got his daughter back after 25 years. They're going to be wondering what happened.
Well,
and then, the thing is that he would have to pretty much tell on himself.
Which, I mean, there's nothing wrong. He's not the bad guy. He was trying to do the right thing. Right. If anything, it'll make him look like a hero. And Victor is sadistic.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, dude, just live and let live. You fired Michael, which you eventually hire him back. But trying to get rid of him because you couldn't be down there torturing a woman who is in a smelly dungeon with Brussels sprouts. What's wrong with you?
They took his smells away. So what is he supposed to do now? Just smelling fresh air? He wasn't happy with that.
Girl.
So he's punishing everybody.
Well, you know what? Even though she's in a maximum security prison, she can go out, sit in the main area, eat, have lunch, even if it's a sandwich and some milk. Whereas Victor wanted to actually torture her. You're like, you ain't getting nothing. You ain't getting out. You're going to be stuck in here forever. I mean, what was the end goal? What was Victor going to do? Just let her just wither up and unalive down there? I mean, come on.
I don't know. This was a little different for Victor.
Yeah.
But maybe he lost faith in the legal system and the police system. He's like, look, I create a jail cell myself. And then I do my own punishment. That was the most random thing for him to put in his own house.
I know.
He put a whole jail cell in his house. He don't trust the legal system, nothing. He don't trust the security, nothing. He said, I'm going to do this myself.
I know, right? I'm trying to think of right quick before we switch over to some bold stuff. Was there any other stuff that stuck out to you on Young and the Restless? Oh, one thing I will say. They need to get Connor up out of that place. Because there's no reason that you stick him in there and he's getting worse.
Why did they come back to Genoa City without their child? If it was that bad, I would be pulling my child. For one, my child would never have been there, for one. And I wouldn't be, just doing video calls. No, he's not in college. He's still a child. He's still a minor.
Right.
And he's dealing with a major issue. I would have grabbed my child. He would have been right back in Genoa City. Like, nope, this isn't working. I don't see the progress. My son is still doubting himself. He's blaming himself.
He's punching himself in the face.
That is absolutely weird and makes absolutely no sense why they showed up back to Genoa City.
Yeah, that don't make sense. I don't understand.
And they leaning on each other like, I don't know how we're going to get through this. I don't know what to do. Get your child from out of that school or that place. Start there.
Well, here's the thing about the storyline itself. Okay, so remember when they had at the end of whatever episode that was, maybe in April, when they were trying to give awareness to OCD in children, and you can call this number and blah blah blah. I thought that we were going to kind of come toward a upswing in the storyline, and then eventually it's just getting worse. So I'm wondering, what's the end game with this? Is it that you're going to take them out? Or is the school the one that's putting hands on this boy and they just don't know it? What's the end game with that storyline? I would think it would be on an upswing by now.
Yeah, this is starting to get kind of dark,
Exactly.
and it's just weird writing. Why a parent would be away from their child for that long of a period of time? Because it's been a couple of months since he's been over in whatever city he's in.
Maryland, yeah.
Yeah, he's in a whole other state. And he's going through this for the past couple of months, and they're perfectly fine with carrying on with Sally and Billy, and have their emotional tears whenever they do the video call and everything. And they're like, okay, we're just going to trust the system and let that be.
I'm sorry.
Go get your child.
Mm-mm. Y'all gonna let me on that campus. If I can't take him, which you should be able to. You should be able to. There's no contract to say he got to stay there for 10 years.
Right.
Take your kid out of there. Go to Victor. That's his grandson. Be like, look, this is what's going on. I need you to find somebody on this entire planet to help me help your grandson, help my son. And can you bring him to Genoa City? Because having that boy on the East Coast, not knowing what's going on, every time they go out there, they can't see him. They do video chats, then they hang up the phone. It's like, what's really going on out there?
And I was reading, and I'm not sure if they might go down this route, because it might just be like speculation, but I thought they were going to say like that facility was like, how do I say this? Like inducing the children with like substances, and it's altering their perception on real life. That's what I was reading. And if that's the case, then that can kind of make sense. But at the same time, Chelsea and Adam need to get their child from out of that place. For one, I would not be away from my child for a couple of months. This is not college. This is not like him going to boarding school. He's dealing with a mental issue that really requires both of their full attention, especially since Chelsea decided to have a leave of absence. Okay, so you have full time to be there with your child.
And
there's no excuse.
Yeah, and I mean, like Belinda said, they never even left. They got on the plane. Then they get a call saying from Connor, you can't come out here. Is somebody telling him to call and say, hey, tell your parents not to come? What is the situation with this? And I will say, because there's another mental health story going on that's going to be huge tomorrow episode. I was kind of talking about it before the live. That episode, for the ones that saw it already or is in Canada, you know what I'm referring to. People can manipulate your thinking where you actually completely believe that this is something that actually happened. Who's to say they're not doing that with Connor? Your parents hate you. Your parents don't want you. You need to be here with us. Who knows?
And kids are very easy to manipulate. You see how Jordan was treating Harrison.
Right, exactly.
And trying to say like, oh, your parents don't want you. Kids can easily be manipulated. And also you can easily give them substances. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I could not be a parent where I cannot lay eyes on my child and have a very limited communication with that child. No, I need to speak to the head of that facility who's treating him, get the day-to-day evaluations, everything. But more importantly, I would be there. We'd probably be roommates. I'm not leaving my child.
Yeah, I agree with CC Gonzalez. Go get your son, Adam. Adam didn't want him out there in the first place, but Chelsea just, hey, trust the process, let it go. He's going through ERP and blah, blah, blah. And then after it went bad, then she was like, bring him home. And then Adam was like, no, let's let it go. Let him go through it. And now the boy punching himself in the face.
And that's so devastating. That really broke my heart. And it made me really angry at Adam and Chelsea. Like, granted, I feel for them as parents, but at the same time, they're idiot parents. Get your child.
Yeah,
Simple as that.
ain't no way. The moment I would have been and got them a long time ago. I mean,
Yeah.
you better let me have a room on that campus or across the street. Something. You're not gonna tell me I can't come up there.
Especially, that's Victor Newman's grandchild. We had a dedicated wing
Exactly.
specifically for my son. Okay, but at the same time, like, my son would not be by himself in a whole other state, especially for the past couple of months, and he's not getting any better.
I know, girl. Please. Yeah, I'm curious to see where they're gonna go with that storyline. But I gotta say, before we move over to the bold stuff, tomorrow's episode with the Ashley's DID storyline is epic. The whole episode is dedicated to her finding out what happened. There's some twists and turns between the twins, and you'll also get to see why she blamed Tucker for what she thought happened at the bistro. It was Martin behind that too. So,
oh, I cannot wait to watch. It's gonna be such a good episode.
Yep. So stay tuned for that. All right. Let's go over here. We're gonna talk about. Let's talk about Brooke.
Okay.
So, Mr. Oh, well, I was going to do an introduction.
No, go for it. Go for it.
So, Mr. Ridge Forrester decides that he want to focus on designing. He don't want to do the everyday business aspect of it. He don't want to do any of the hiring and the firing and the paychecks and the revenue and all that. I want to get back into designing. This is the same man that wanted to do a competition with his father 7 months ago.
Talking about pass on the reins. Santa Claus pass on the reins so I can run the company. And you got Shrek just sitting there now saying, I just want to design and do a couture. Like, where did that come from? That was the most random writing for Ridge.
Ooh, girl. My thing is, I will say, I was kind of feeling the connection if Steph and Carter work together. I would love to see him as co-CEO with her.
Really?
You don't think so?
Now, if this were me, I would have put Brooke in that position.
You say you would or wouldn't?
I would.
Okay.
For the main fact that she has more experience in both Carter and Steffy at this point. And they kept saying the buyers keep asking for her. And if we're losing sales, I want the person who's going to draw more attention and bring positivity to that company. Well, not positivity, but like a positive light versus and try to divert away from the negative of the sales for that company. So I would have put her in that position, but I couldn't see Steffy running it by herself at all. No, she was smart, girl.
She ran it by herself. She did it in 2023 when Ridge took off on his hiatus to find himself and to find Sheila with Bill and the FBI. She ran it by herself.
She ran by herself, but I think she was still trying to get clearance for, like, especially about the Thomas thing too. When he got fired, I think she was still clearing out with that.
Board. You're going to have a board, but she ran that company by herself for that time period while he was gone.
And Maya Baker said Brooke was CEO of that company for 10 years. She is for sure more qualified. Yep, I would put the more qualified person in that position. Not saying Carter isn't qualified, but if it's a business decision, Steffy shouldn't be mad at this.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, when you go to law school, I think you get some business classes and some business administration out of that. That man is an attorney. So, and a corporate law attorney. So, I would think he knows the ins and outs of what's legal, what can be done. He runs the numbers as a COO. So, I mean, I think he is qualified. I mean, he got the education and the law degree, and I think you need a master's or PhD for that. One of the two.
Either which way, he's qualified when the time is right. I feel that putting Brooke in that position makes sense, and plus, she needs to do something else than being a houseplant.
Well,
So,
the only other thing is that Steffy ain't going nowhere.
mm-mm.
He's not saying that she's going to get the whole spot. There is no way that those two are going to be able to run that Forrester office together without problems. It's just not going to happen.
And Ridge knows that. That's why he put two of his favorite people together so they can fight it out and keep him out of it. That's all he wants to do. When he was saying, I don't want to put out fires, he don't want to be back and forth between Brooke and Steffy. He's like, I'm going to remove myself. I'm going to sketch some stuff on my pad, and that's it. I'm glad that he's going to be stepping away, because the only thing Ridge contributes now is is some shrugs and a side tilt.
Yeah, I mean, and she has majority stakeholder. She's a majority stakeholder besides Eric. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why they went this direction. I would prefer Brooke to have a subsidiary. You know how you have Newman and you got Newman Media?
Right, but like, what would be the subsidiary if she's known for that formula and it's still used today for that brand that she's Forrester is her bread and butter. That's her. She's created a whole patent for that company. I wouldn't create a subsidiary if I have a standing patent that's still bringing in money for you guys today.
Well, the thing
I would want to be CEO of that company.
There's no way. Like Jenny Smith says, Brooke and Steffy together equal chaos. That office is, how are you supposed to run business when you got two opposing CEOs? We already talking about Devon and his emotions over there and how it's causing problems. You know, when you have multiple heads, you got Jill and now Billy and Lily and Devon. You got two opposing people putting Brooke and Steffy together. That's nothing but chaos.
Well, this is what I'll say. The Forrester men have put Brooke in this position to where she is a big part of their success, and they can't deny it. Steffy can't deny it. If she's a businesswoman, this would be the best move, in my opinion. The person who has brought in the most profits for that company should be running that company. If anything, they would know the ins and outs of how to get the product out there, how to reach those clients. And she knows Forrester like the back of her hand more than Steffy and more than Carter. Probably more than Ridge, too.
I'm not saying that. It's just the fact that those two working together in the same power spot. They both can have whatever contributing factors to bring what they bring. Those two personalities are not going to work together. That's what I'm saying. They're not going to work together.
No, but it's going to be very fun to watch. And it actually might rearrange some of those positions over there at Forrester Creations. The only thing that worries me is Zende's position. If they put Brooke in a CEO position, she might actually ship him off to Forrester Antarctica.
Yeah, I don't know. I was wondering what they were going to give her when Catherine Kelly Lang talked about this. You know, and then you got Thomas coming back in the next week or so.
Ooh, that's right. Oh, I can't wait to see him. I miss him on my screen.
Yeah.
This is the best business decision, but like you said, it's going to be chaotic. But these are two business women, so they shouldn't be emotional about anything. So, and the only person to be blamed is going to be Ridge, because he wanted to be Shrek, and he got tired of being in the middle, and he wants to just design on his drawing pad and color, and that's all he wants to do, which is fine if he wants to say he's retired. He could just say, I just want to retire. I want to fall back. I want to do things part-time. That's what I wish he just said. But he knew what this was going to cause. But I think maybe in his head, okay, maybe this is going to be balanced. We have a Logan, we have a Forrester running the company. I think that's what he was trying to go for.
That's a good Cheryl said, I think that the board would have had to vote on this. Instead of him just saying, here you go. Because, I mean, you needed Ridge to make the decision to keep hope for the future. Don't you think you need your other co-CEO on the flip side to make a decision about Brooke?
Well, he did say he was going to try and find somebody to help, and Steffy was all on board to try to get Carter. So Steffy's open to someone being in that position.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying they're saying to vote who should be doing it. Not saying that whether or not that they need it.
Oh, no, that part I understand.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that kind of come down to Eric to give that final decision?
Well, that's what I think Ridge was saying, that he was over there to talk to him about something.
So once Eric decides, that's done for. Would it have to come to a vote? Especially, I'm surprised, like, anytime they had, like, someone in a CEO position or, like, they're changing power positions, that they would have to come to a stockholder vote for that. Any other time, they just put somebody in a position, like, look, you're president, that's done. So it makes me wonder if they're going to go down that route with the board meeting and say, like,
yeah, but
this is how it should be done.
Amaya said even if the board votes Eric and Ridge are the majority, I mean, yeah, they're all. Who's on the board? When they fired Thomas, it was not Ridge.
It was Hope. It was Hope, Ridge, Steffy, Brooke,
and Carter. How many people is that? 5?
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to think of anybody else.
Okay, so, and we know Hope is probably going to side with her mom side with Ridge and Eric, because her mom is up for the vote. The only other people on the opposite side is Carter and Steffy, which 3 outweighs 2.
Yeah.
If they was to go that route.
So Steffy might as well just go ahead and concede. She gonna work with her stepmom.
You're right, Joanne. Yes, Eric has 37.5%. Steph has 37.5% because Bill gave her 12.5% back in 2018. So that's what's making her and Eric the higher majority stakeholders with 37.5%.
Well, I think the writing's on the wall. The Forrester men have always pulled for the Logans, Brooke and her crumbs, and they are going to ensure that she's going to be CEO. They went to great lengths to make sure that Steffi doesn't get her way and stop Hope for the Future from going away. So putting her in a CEO position is definitely going to happen, no matter what Steffi has to say or do.
Now, it said Hope was talking about dethroning Steffi. The way Hope wanted, she want her mom to have full autonomy.
Now she lost her mind.
Let me switch over to that. Okay, there we go. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of Brooke's crumbs, Hope had the gall, and I understand she was listing off facts. So yeah, Brooke brought in a lot of money. She brought in a great patent, and it's made the Forrester successful. But she kept going on and regarding about Steffi doesn't deserve, her recognition. Like, what she put into this? She put into a lot, and it's enough to get 37.5% into that company. I mean, I would say that's plenty, if not more.
You talking about Steph?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what is your issue with Steffi? Like, look, your line is not canceled. You would think that she'd be like trying to call Thomas or try to call her creative team to try to do what she can to save her line, but you went straight to your mom and saying, like, Mom, I think you should take more control in the company. Hope's just trying to save her own behind because she knows she's on thin ice. Everybody's forever trying to resuscitate her line for years.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is the first time that I've seen. We've seen pretty much Hope being kind of mellow, maybe a little bit more mature, because we were calling Steffi being a little petty over the past month or two, right? But
Yeah.
these last two episodes with her reigniting this war between the Logans and the Forresters, I'm like, you ain't got to stoop to that level, Hope. I mean, seriously. If you want I mean, she was just going on and on and on about, we're here to stay, the Logans, and da-da-da. I'm like, do we have to go through this again? Last time we heard Steph say that was in 2022. We got a break from that war.
Somewhat. We somewhat got a break from that war, but this is going to be a never-ending thing, and I'm like, Hope, you don't have to keep reiterating that the Logans are here to stay, that the Forrester men made sure of that. Professionally and personally. That's why Brooke is the biggest success over at Forrester. So you're good. You just have to come up with better designs for your line, and the Forrester men keep saving them. So that's why I feel Steffi might as well go ahead and concede that 37% is not going to mean anything. The Forrester men are running that show. And as long as they have any love whatsoever for the Logans, Brooke and her crumbs. That's Katie, that's Donna, Rick, throw RJ, no Bridget, because Bridget was a whole doctor. She had her own career. But the Forrester men are always going to go hard for Brooke and her crumbs.
Yeah, that seems to be the case, and I'm like, okay, I'm just not. I'm up for like business takeovers and stuff like that, like what we used to see with Bill or some of this other stuff. But I don't know if I'm really interested in this part of it. I was hoping somebody was going to do their own separate thing, kind of like how I think was that Keisha was talking about. She was hoping that Thomas would come back and start the men's line and not work for Hope for the Future. Just something of a little bit of a shifted difference.
That could still take place, but I think he's going to come back and resuscitate her line again.
Mm-hmm. As usual. I just wish that they could have kept Taylor. I mean, it's all, I know we talked about this before, that there's been an imbalance. I mean, technically, a lot of people say they're not really a Maroney. I mean, at Forrester, they're Maronis. All the other actual Stephanie and Eric's children are not on the show at all.
Yeah. And Amaya Baker said Rick isn't a crumb, he's a true Forrester. By name, yes, but he's still Brooke's crumb. And actually we can go ahead and throw Ridge and Eric as one of Brooke's crumbs too, because they eat up everything that she has to say. And she chews them up and spits them out too. So Brooke and her crumbs will forever be the success over at Forrester. And like I was telling you guys in the group chat, Brooke has said in several episodes in earlier seasons that she wants to be indispensable at Forrester, and now she is. And Steffi can't do anything about it. She can't undo anything that Brooke has. And I understand Steffi hasn't gone after Brooke professionally, at least yet. But Brooke and her Brooke has staked her claim over at Forrester. She's pretty much Forrester.
Delmonica says that's one reason why she don't like B&B. No new families or rivals. It's just like you keep washing, rinsing, repeating every 5 to 7 years, 10 years maybe. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens, because I mean, do we have a renewal up for 2025? I don't know.
And I know we'll get to the other storyline here, but that's what I'm wondering. Do they want to stay on past 2025 with the stuff that they're writing, especially that DNA storyline?
Yeah, you know what? All right, so we talked about Brooke and Steph and Hope. So we might as well talk about. Oh, let me close that up. All right, talk about the DNA test. The lie, the lie detector determined that she was telling the truth. And in the case of Luna Nazawa, Bill, you are the father.
Allegedly.
Why are we? And see, this happens every time that there's a DNA test. It's like why the box was closed. It was closed. It was sealed.
I'm sorry. I do not believe these results. How is it every time there's a DNA test done, they go to a hospital or to a lab? This is the first time I've ever seen them do like a home DNA test, something that's been known to be faulty and non-reliable.
Well,
I was
according
very
to Bill, he
surprised
wanted
at
to
that.
do it that way because he wanted to keep it up under wraps, no paparazzi, they wanted to keep it discreet. That's why they said that they did it.
And he can't do that with his money at a hospital, at a lab.
Girl, listen, they threw this story, this whole storyline is trash to me because of the fact that they had it going one direction in January and February. They shelved it, and then they turned around and threw it back together in June to say, oh yeah, by the way, you know what? You are possibly the father. Guess what? You are the father.
This was so stupid. And specifically, it was January 29th and January 30th, where we saw that interaction between Poppy and Finn and her looking at behind the doorway. And they were saying that they hung out together while Lee and Jack were always busy with their career, and Poppy was entertaining, quote unquote, Finn while he was during his first year of college or after his first year of college.
No.
That they went that direction. And that's why I kept saying, like, Poppy's a liar, because she kept telling this man to his face, you're nowhere near a possibility, nowhere true. And telling her daughter to her face, she said, you don't need to know who he is. And then she said, well, he's nowhere near a possibility. And then all of a sudden, now he is. I think Poppy was banking on that DNA test to kind of go in her favor, knowing that that stuff was faulty. I will never believe that he is the father. The only way I believe it, like some of the other DNA results that pop up, is always a medical issue, always a transplant, and we're going to see that Bill was not the father. I think that's what's going to end up happening.
Girl, they've been saying the same thing about Kelly and Bill in the last 8 years, and it hasn't happened. I mean, even Don Diamond came on and said, no, that's Liam's kid. And people were still refusing to believe it.
But here's the thing. That was done in the lab at a hospital.
I understand
that. Was a home DNA
I just
test.
think that this was jacked up. I don't even think it's an issue about her lying or not. I just think that they were stupid enough to write this one way, and then because it was too easy. Bill wanted to be the father,
right? That's
they
why I
could
don't
have
believe
just
it now.
gave it to him back in January and called it a day. They were begging. Luna wanted him to be her dad, and Bill wanted to be her father. She had an easy pathway to just say, yeah, let's just take the test and get it over with. But no, they pointed this thing in Finn's direction. And then you want to flip the script, like what we say on the show, and then turn around and say, oh yeah, it's a possibility. No, I ain't putting this on Poppy. I put them on the people in that writing room and Belle.
Yeah. And the thing,
because it doesn't make sense. You making her look like a liar because you went and took the story a different direction 5 months ago.
Well, she's been a known liar since she's been on the show, more than just this DNA test storyline. And she's proven to be very selfish and self-serving. So that part wasn't a lie. That's still true.
Yeah, but we're talking about this DNA test. And so the thing is that with what we saw, she had a box that was sealed. She had a box that was unsealed. She said, nope, I'm running this test. I'm going to do it the professional way. And the only thing professional about it was her putting on blue gloves because they were still in his house. And then they ran the test, swabbed his cheek, swabbed her cheek. And that test technically in real life don't exist. You don't have tests like that. The only tests that come like that is pregnancy, COVID, and flu.
Yeah.
But they, obviously this is fictional, so they just wanted to put this together. Maybe they don't even have a set for a lab, but I mean, you got Finn's
They had a
office.
hospital.
You got Finn's office. I mean, come on. I don't know. Maybe it's down or something. I don't know. But the thing is that one box open, one box sealed. You used the sealed one. She opened it. She wanted to conduct the test, and it came out positive. She was disappointed. She was horrified. She said, "You wasn't lying."
Well, Poppy had locked out, and she landed herself a billionaire. And I understand that probably in that moment Lee is like, okay, I don't think she'd ever denied that Poppy slept with Bill. I think she just wanted to ensure that he was an actual possibility and not something random, especially since she was known for always being loose with it. And on top of this, she was denying it for months after both Bill and Luna was asking her dead in her face, "Is that my father?" She kept saying no. And then all of a sudden one day, here's this happen. So I think it just came out of nowhere. Like, oh, wow, okay. Hey, he's the father. It's definitive. I think she just took it on the chin. But even still, I don't believe these faulty results. I think it's either a false positive. I am hoping that the writers would try to get the storyline right and go back to what happened in January 29th and January 30th. Because I know you guys listen to the podcast, writers. And swing that back into Finn or Jack's direction. That makes more sense for Lee for one, to be vindicated, and then two, this would actually be a more interesting storyline instead of just giving Bill another random child.
Oh, well, the thing is, there's this whole theory that they're trying to create another triangle between Poppy and Katie. So this would definitely be a perfect one because that's why they brought Katie back. And so if they're going to make Luna his daughter, and have Poppy in the middle of this because they're in a full-fledged relationship, Katie is feeling some kind of way about this, obviously. There's your possible triangle. Now, I don't understand why Katie even cares because she was the one that heard Brooke and Bill last year or the year before talking about how much he's in love with her, and when Brooke turned him down, he come talking to Katie, and she was like, "Oh no." Now all of a sudden I don't know, I might have feelings. He was a man that really treated me well, and I never had a love like that. And what happened to what happened to Carter?
Well, that's a great question. It didn't even look like Carter was even worried or like heartbroken or anything. Like it was like business as normal for Carter, and they're right across the room from one another, and she's eating pizza, panicking about the paternity test and everything. But there's no clear indication of whether or not they broke up or they're on a break or anything of that matter. The fact that she's sniffing around a man whose first choice was Brooke, by the way, not Katie. She was the second choice.
Mm-hmm.
Even most recently, before he got himself involved with the Sheila thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that she's circling around this man, I don't know. Is Carter not putting it down like he should be? What? Why would she circle back to the man who was happy to be up in her sister?
Because, I mean, we've probably seen it before. When nobody wants you, I don't want you. But now somebody else around you and you giving them attention, now I want you back. And it just seems, I don't know, again, how y'all writing this? First of all, we don't know what happened to Carter and Katie. They just act like you just said. Carter don't act heartbroken. Oh, me and Katie didn't work out. Y'all ain't giving us nothing.
No.
And then you want to have her and, her sisters. Because especially Brooke, you knew Bill talked to you first and then talked to her second. And then you want to send her right back to Bill?
Yeah, this is just piss poor story writing. I'll never understand this. Like, it's a real disservice how, for one, they wrote Poppy. And I know I personally don't like the character Poppy. The actress is beautiful. I love the actress, but the character, the way that she came in with her storyline, and it's still messy. It just shows the kind of the sloppiness, because she went from not caring about Bill, saying she was pretending like she didn't know him, and then all of a sudden now she's in love, the love of her life after he hit it once. It's and then the way she was treating her daughter, about her learning about who her own father was, and then it's a huge disservice how they're doing these characters, and then having Katie circle around in the mix of all of this. It just didn't make any sense to me.
Especially how she kind of sort of doing an about face slowly with her feelings without giving us any context on what happened with her and Carter. I mean, it's just like it never happened. Are they even still together? It's just distant. Just nothing.
Yeah.
So I just think this was messy. I don't like how they did the DNA storyline. I don't like, we don't know what happened with Carter and Katie and trying to throw her back into the mix. It's just, yeah. Who is that? Kay. She said this show has the laziest writers. Nothing soapy happens.
Right. Wouldn't it have been better for it to come out that Finn was the father? That would have been very soapy. I'm still keeping my fingers crossed they can write it that way.
Yep. That would have been. I mean, if you're going to point us down the direction, what was she staring at her? What was she staring at Finn for? Why were you sneaking around him and talking about dance parties in college? And what was that for? And then you brought the whole Mint storyline and looked like y'all were going to tie that into reason why maybe Finn don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And then y'all threw all that away because we had Sheila Sugar and Thomas leaving, and then you want to come right back to this, but you want to redirect it all. It just makes, it's no continuity to it. And then here's the other thing. What was that whole recapping of what happened with Lee and falling in the ocean? What was that about?
I honestly don't know. I thought that they were just trying to just make conversation while they wait for results. It was the most random thing. And plus, Poppy already knew what happened. And I assume Luna did too, but Luna was acting surprised.
Again, that's a rewrite, because they looked shocked when she told that story when you said Poppy already knew.
Yeah, Poppy already knew, and she was actually trying to defend, I forget who she was speaking to. She was defending Lee and saying, like Sheila's dangerous. I don't want her around my sister after what she did to her. And then all of a sudden, you both acted surprised to hear the story about what happened to Lee and how Bill saved her.
Exactly.
And I'm like, are they not doing any checks and balances on the show? I mean, this is what the podcast here is for. We can do that for you. If you need some extra writers or some extra input, we'd be happy to help, because literally January 29th and January 30th, they should have kept in that direction regarding Poppy's storyline and Luna's paternity, because the way they wrote that episode was leaning towards that she had a hookup around the time that she got pregnant with Luna, with Finn. And it would have been more interesting for her to try to cover that up, being that that's Lee's son that she could have a baby by. That would have been extra soapy, more interesting, and Lee would have been really mad for a reason.
Exactly. Now, all she's going to do tomorrow, supposedly, is go over, well, she's at Katie's, but she's going to be warning Katie about dealing with Poppy, and it's like, okay. I mean, I guess, but I mean, what is Katie going to do? You going to try to take Bill's attention back? See, I think that's where that whole, where they're trying to do this triangle with, because how is Katie going to get involved to keep an eye on Poppy unless she get involved, maybe trying to get in the way of it?
and bringing up their history and that they have this son and this bond, and she's always loved him, and Poppy can't compete with that. I can write this already. It's so predictable, and it's incredibly random to throw Katie in the mix. We have no resolve as to what happened with her and Carter. We only had like one love scene with her and Carter. With her and Carter, and that was how many months ago?
Girl, that was in 2023, wasn't it?
Was it that before the Eric storyline?
I think so. I mean, they were at Christmas. Weren't they at Christmas together?
I think so.
Yeah, that was 2023. I don't remember anything this year because RJ and Luna took up the bulk of half of January and the majority of February. Sheila's situation was the end of February going into most of March, and then Sugar came around and all this stuff with Thomas. All that was in the last 2.5 months. So I don't remember. Katie and Carter have been gone for a while.
Yeah, and we have no idea what what's going on with them. Like we got that one love scene where she was asking about how good it was with Quinn, which I thought that made no sense. Why are you pointing a whole direction regarding a whole other woman and you guys are in bed together? But that was it. And then they were at a party together, Eric's party. And then that was that. And then now she's just randomly mixed into all of this. And for what?
Yeah, V. Carter said yes, before the Eric storyline, they slept months before Christmas.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a while. And then they gave, so, I mean, if she thinking about Bill, then her and Carter must have broke up. But at least tell us something.
Yeah. It like gives some indication, like, is he single? Can I get my man back? I mean, my goodness, Katie. I kid.
Yeah, Liam got a sister, LaShanta, and she also Luna has 2 nieces now. Beth and Kelly is her nieces.
Allegedly.
The Eric supposedly dying. Yeah, I know, Ron Julian. He said Eric supposedly dying was the worst in soap history.
It was worse for me only because I kept seeing the coffee and the blood. I'm like, oh, I can't watch that.
That's disgusting. Yep.
Not to say I wouldn't feel for Eric leaving leaving the show like that, because he's a huge part of the fabric of Bold and Beautiful, but that wasn't his best storyline, in my opinion. Not my favorite.
I'm hoping with Thomas coming back, maybe that'll refocus and redirect the attention away from the sloppy writing. I don't know what they're going to do with him. Is he going to get back with Hope? I don't,
Well, that's the other thing. If it's going to be sloppy writing, then 9 times out of 10 he's going to be right up underneath Hope, saying that he misses her and then try to plead with her. If they write it that way, I'll be very upset.
Yeah, well, Hope is supposed to on Friday find herself in a unusual situation or something. I don't even know what that means. I mean, Hope? Yeah, that spoiler for Friday is very cryptic.
An unusual situation.
Let me see, because I got it in my list of spoilers. Library. Not mine. Okay.
I mean,
let me look at that spoiler. That is Bold and the Beautiful. Oh, dang, I went too far back. Here we go. June 3rd through the 7th. Yeah, okay. Hope find herself in an unexpected situation. What does that mean?
I don't know. The only thing I can think of is like maybe Zende is off the line and she has to try to find a designer, and then she has to crawl and beg to get Thomas back.
I mean,
that would be my guess.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I'm wondering how soon Ridge is going to put Brooke in that whatever position, because it's not clear. He never even said co-CEO. He said help him do other daily tasks. What does that mean?
You can't expect Shrek, like I said, he'll give like one or two lines, a head shrug, and a tilt. That's all he does every single time we see him. It's like one or two lines, and then he'll shrug, and he'll always do a head tilt. Like he's always suspicious of something. Like he has a question in his head.
Her mother will appoint her co-CEO.
Oh,
Say co-co-C. I ain't never seen so many people have. You got. Wait a minute. There's co-CEOs at Newman. There's co-CEOs at Jabot. The Chancellor Winters, Billy is Chancellor. She's the CEO alone at Chancellor Lilly, and then he's the CEO over at Hamilton Winters. So it's just too many chiefs.
And nobody running the companies functionally, and no fashions, by the way.
Oh gosh. Man,
we haven't seen a fashion show. There's no rivalry. That's why I miss the Spectres. That's why I sent that picture in the group chat the other day. Like, I miss Sally Spectra. That's like my favorite B&B character of all time. Well, my favorite soap character of all time is Sally Spectra.
How many people in the chat, Bree?
We got almost 95 people.
Oh,
it's been it's gone from a little over 100, and now we're at 95. It's been consistent. Thank you, guys.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, Melissa's talking about Hope is supposed to find out from Finn that she's pregnant, and he gonna be trying to keep it a secret. That would be very interesting if they. I guess I would be interested in that because it's different. What do you think? Would you be interested in if allegedly Hope is pregnant?
And then do what with it? Do what with that storyline? I mean, she's already turned Thomas down so many times, and like, kind of like what Keisha was saying for like a couple of months, like that shouldn't be the thing that bridges those two together. But if she's pregnant, she's pregnant. I mean, there's nothing we can. I mean, I'd be okay with it.
Go with that. I don't know. I've been hearing things, spoiler, speculation, alleged, and I don't know. I guess we'll see if it does actually ring true. And then finally, before we end the chat, because we've been on about an hour and a half. Yeah, girl, time flies when you're having fun. Now that. Right now, in this moment, Luna and Bill are now father and daughter. You know what his next move is going to be. How is this going to affect RJ? Because now he's got to feel some kind of way. And then we already talked about Katie, but will Bill snatch her from Forrester and put her over at Spencer like he did with his boys?
Even if he were to do it, I mean, it didn't benefit him. I mean, Liam's never at work. So, I mean, maybe he can pull Luna and she can actually get some work done, take over Liam's position. And we know that she's actively at her job. So anybody who seems to go over to Spencer don't ever last long. But, I mean, what could she do over there? If she's a fashion school major.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious where this goes from here. If, in fact, they're going to keep everything intact, her being the daughter, bringing Katie as a triangle, what does this now mean for Luna? Do she continue to work at Forrester? Or Bill have another plan for her? I'm wondering where they're going to go with this now.
I don't know, but I feel so bad for Luna because I don't think I fully believe he's not the father. I think it's going to be some faulty results, or it's going to come out to be like a medical issue where the truth is going to come out. But, oh well, I mean, good for her for now, but allegedly.
Yeah, we're going to have to see, where we go. If they are going to just, like I said, keep everything status quo with leaving it as is, I'm curious to see what direction they're going to go from here. So, yep.
Stay tuned.
Yep. And again, also stay tuned for Young and the Restless tomorrow. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys will too. We'll talk more about that on the Sunday live chat because we will not be going live Friday night as the daytime Emmys are going to be on. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who the winners are. We had a lot of great nominations for 2023, for 2024 awards. So I'm looking forward to it. I might tag team with y'all though. You and see what you, Keish, and Bree and Jay and Bree. Yeah, you. I say you and Bree. Lord. You.
I mean, I'm a lot of personality for two people. Yes, I know.
You're so funny. You, Keish, Trish, and Jay. See if y'all want to chat about it or whatever. But yeah, it's gonna be nice to see what everybody's wearing and
yes,
their dates and who wins what. So I'm excited.
Me too. I cannot wait.
Yay! All right, you guys. So I hope this holds you over until Sunday. We had a good time today. I gave you a little bit more tonight than what we usually do. Usually Bree and I probably give you about an hour, but we did an hour and a half this time. So
we had a lot to get off our chest.
Yes, we had a lot to say, and a lot of it had to do, especially on Bo. Every time all I can do is laugh because the writing suck.
Right. And I really hope they listen to us. I know they do, so actively listen to us.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're welcome, Cheryl. They said, thanks for the midweek chat. Thank you. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out. If you're not a subscriber, we do this type of stuff all the time. Bree and myself go midweek chats on either Tuesday or Wednesday. Lately, it's been Wednesdays because all the good episodes happen on Wednesday, it seems. And then we have a Friday night long chat where we chat about both shows for the entire week. We do a full week recap, and then we also do other segments as well that we keep it fun and exciting. So it usually goes on for about 2.5 hours in most cases. So yeah, we have a ball. So make sure that you subscribe so anytime we go live you get notified. And then the spoilers, the recaps, standalone videos, and then all of the other social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook group, Threads, X, all over the place. There's blog, Rumble. You type in Soap Corner Talk, you'll find those platforms. All right, you guys. So you guys have a good night, and we will talk to you guys on Sunday. Bye.
Bye, y'all.